Good stuff. All right, we're going to move on. We have a really good tech corner for you now.
Speaking of learning.
Speaking of learning, from our old friends at Q Skills. These are folks we worked with for a few decades now. Really good friends of ours and quality that is. So Dirk, take it away.
Thanks, Mike. That's right. The product we're going to talk about today is Q Skills 3D, which is a fun, interactive software program, a training program that helps you learn or refresh on quality skills, quality techniques, quality concepts. Now, Q Skills itself has been around, the original version has been around for a long time. It's been around for 20 years. I mean, we met the developer, Anthony Burns, back in the 80s when Q Skills first came out. It's sold over 500,000, 500,000 copies of Q Skills have gone into corporate brands. Pretty much any corporate brand you can think of, they have purchased Q Skills, always with really good reviews. Now, Q Skills 3D is a completely revamped Q Skills that incorporates the latest 3D gaming engine within it in order to bring you really nice graphics, really fun interactivity, nice simulations and visualizations of concepts. It works really well. The other thing about it is that you can log into it. So you might start off, let's say, going to work and bring up Q Skills on your Android, and when you get to work, transfer over to your computer, pick right up from where you left off and continue on with your lesson. Of course, because you're logged in, all of your coursework can be tracked either by you or maybe a training coordinator. And what makes all of this work really well is, like I said, is the fun interactivity. You're learning concepts, and let's face it, a lot of quality concepts are just pretty darn dry, and nothing's drier than looking at a PowerPoint and have somebody drone on about this text that you're seeing on the screen, right? These are all game-oriented, simulation-oriented, a lot of fun to participate in and really help lock these concepts into your noggin. So we're going to take a look at a demo that Q Skills sent us. We take a look at our screen share here. And you can see that on the left, these are kind of the main topics. We've got lean, flow. Within flow, let's say we've got process mapping. We've got examples. Under lean, we have 8 wastes and 5S. We've got cause and effect, run and bar charts, scattergrams, histograms. Notice at the end of each of these, there is a summary that kind of wrap everything up, and also there is a quiz that kind of brings everything home. And of course, at the very end of all the coursework is a mastery test. So let's take a look at what a couple of these things look like. So we're going to go into 8 wastes. Now I'm going to show you a simulation here. Now on the simulation, you're watching it over a screen share. It may not look as smooth as what I'm seeing. That's just kind of the limitations of how we do screen shares here. But the first thing you would see is one of the very few bits of text that you will actually find, and this is simply a recap of what the 8 wastes are. You know, we can see our transport and inventory, what we got: motion, waiting, overproduction, overprocessing, defectives, and so forth. But if we go on to the next bit, what we're going to see here is kind of a Rube Goldberg kind of machine. On the left-hand side, it's cranking out rubber duckies. You can see there's a character who picks it up and he runs it down one side and up the other, and you know, he comes back. And you can see all sorts of stuff going on here. And the goal here is to try to understand and pick out the 7 wastes that are in here. And if you look at this closely, you can probably see quite a few of them. Now, if you can't pick out what the 7 wastes are, you can click that Show Me, and now it comes up and it shows you what those wastes are right there on the screen. Whether it's waiting or motion or transport or what have you, you can pick up what all those are just by looking at the screen. Now, if we exit this, we can go back to our menu. Let's look at a game. So we're going to go over to histograms, and we're going to look at this. This is the quality version of a first-person shooter game, and we're going to get into this here. Here we go. And this is, imagine that you are the captain of a Navy ship, a British Navy ship on the rolling seas, and you have control over the cannon here, but your ship is tossing up and down, and the pirate ship there on the horizon is tossing up and down. And what I've got to do is try to shoot cannonballs and hit that ship. So I'm going to sit here and fire 7 shots. And as I'm firing, notice that on the left-hand side, see a little bar. In the middle of that bar is a red line. That represents my target. That represents the pirate ship out there. And the X's are where my cannonballs are landing, which, as you can see, are landing nowhere near the pirate ship that I'm going to hit. So probably if I don't improve my aim, I'm going to be boarded and all my booty is going to be taken from me. So I'm going to take a couple more shots. One of these will hit if I'm lucky. Here's my 6th shot. Finally, here is my 7th shot. And the ship is still standing, unfortunately. But now what I see is a histogram. So notice on the histogram, what do we see? Well, we see one bar that represents all my shots that landed way in the distance, and another bar that shows my shots that landed close by. If I grouped them a little bit better, I may have seen a histogram that looks similar to what you see on the right. Now notice there's a question that comes up here. What would you expect your histogram to look like with better quality results? Now if I click on the wrong answer, it simply tells me no. But I know that if I was really a good shot and was doing a much better job aiming that cannon, that I would expect my histogram to be narrower and taller like we see there on the right. And of course it would tell me that's correct. I can replay this game and then it would show me another histogram. It would overlay that histogram on my previous one to show how I improved. And it has even more questions related to histograms. So I'm learning about histograms as I'm playing a fun interactive game. Now, as I said, once you get to the end of all of this, you can take a mastery test, which is everything that is covered in Q skills. And this is a game of snakes and ladders. And basically the way this works is it asks you a question. If you answer correctly, you get to roll the dice and you move along the board. If you don't answer correctly, a snake comes up and bites you in the rear. So for instance, the first question, before improving a process, first remove variation. Well, we know that's true. So we're going to click on, oh, I was wrong. I was wrong, Mike. So the snake came out and bit me in the rear end. Flowcharts are mainly used in manufacturing processes. Well, that's not true. They can be used all other places, I think, so I'm going to answer false. Hey, I got one right. There we go. It rolls the die, and I move along the board 3 spaces. So you get the idea. You keep asking questions. If you answer incorrectly, you may be moved backward. If you answer correctly, you'll be moved forward, and you work your way through the game until you get the end and finish it. So that's really all there is. I mean, this is really just a fun way to interact with these lessons, with these concepts, and kind of bring home the idea of what all these things are talking about without reading some boring PowerPoint, right? And that's the whole goal behind Q skills, is to make these ideas available to anybody at any time. So if you want more information on Q skills, there's 3 links underneath the player page. The first one is going to take you out to a landing page on their website, which kind of describes this in more detail. It also has another 3D simulation of a histogram, kind of a different one. There's a link that goes out to a demo version that you could download, similar to what I was just showing you here. And there's also a link to a really interesting article written by Anthony for us 2 or 3 months ago that kind of gives his background, where he's coming from. We've known Anthony for 20 years, but his history goes way back. He's an Aussie. He came up through the early days of some manufacturing processes there in Australia. And he gives you an idea of why he's so passionate about bringing quality to the shop floor and making it available to the everyday man. So I suggest you read that article. It's really good. And again, thanks to Tony Burns for sending us the software to take a look at. I suggest you go out there and take some more look at it yourself.